Adventure bikes. Almost nobody rides these off-road. You buy one telling yourself you're crossing a continent, and it spends 4 years going to work on tires that have seen more car washes than actual dirt. Doesn't make it a bad bike. It's just the category. The most capable motorcycles on the road, bought by the people least likely to use any of it. So let's get into it. Level 1. The small ones. Royal Enfield Himalayan 450. 452cc single-cylinder, around 40 horsepower, and it cost about $5.5 grand. That's the whole pitch. Cheap, light, and the seat drops low enough that a short rider can actually flat-foot it, which is more than half the bikes on this list can say. It'll go further into the dirt than most of the bikes higher up this list ever will. KTM 390 Adventure. 399cc single, sharper, meaner, wants to be ridden hard. BMW G310 GS. 313cc, the cheapest way to get the badge on your driveway. Kawasaki Versys X300, a tiny 296cc twin, the easy low-seat one. CF Moto Ibex 450, the Chinese one that undercuts everybody on features, which annoys people who paid 3 times as much for a logo. Honda NX500, which used to be the CB500X, a 471cc twin that's really a commuter wearing hiking boots. And the brand new Kawasaki KLE 500. Then the one everybody's watching, the 2026 BMW F450 GS, 420cc twin, built to sit right under the big GS. First time in years BMW's taken the small end of this seriously. This is the level people skip. It's also the one most of them should be buying. These are the bikes you'll actually ride the way an adventure bike is meant to be ridden. But nobody dreams about a 40 horsepower single, so they scroll past it, straight towards something that photographs better than it performs. Level 2. The unkillable ones. Kawasaki KLR 650, Suzuki DR 650, Honda CRF 300L Rally. Old designs, simple engines, not a lot to break. The DR 650 kept a carburetor almost its entire life, while the rest of the world moved to fuel injection. People never saw that as a flaw. They saw one less computer to die on them in the middle of nowhere. Hold that thought, because a certain German brand is going to test that theory later on this list. Every adventure rider online is begging for a light, simple, cheap bike that nobody builds anymore. These are the closest thing that still exists. That's why people hang on to them for 15 years and never let go, right up until their knees stop letting them kickstart a DR 650 in the cold. The KLR guy is a whole personality. Soft luggage, a milk crate zip-tied to the back, and a spreadsheet of every farkle he's bolted on. Farkles, by the way, are aftermarket add-ons, and he spent more on them than the bike is worth. He is not trying to sell it. He is trying to get buried with it. Level 3. The middleweights. Yamaha Tenere 700. 689cc parallel twin, about 72 horsepower, and almost no electronics. No ride modes to scroll through. No screen the size of a tablet. If you need to check your heart rate mid-trail, buy a smartwatch. Just a bike. That engine, the CP2, is the same twin Yamaha drops in the MT-07, the R7, and the XSR 700. They built one good motor and sold it 5 ways. The Tenere is the one they wrapped a dirt bike around. This is the class the internet actually respects. Aprilia Touareg 660, Suzuki V-Strom 800DE, Honda Transalp 750, which shares its 755 twin with the Hornet, KTM 790 Adventure, Moto Guzzi V85 TT, still shaft drive, still built like a piece of Italian furniture, CF Moto 800 MT, which runs a version of KTM's own 790 engine, because CF Moto builds it for them. Make somebody pick one, and it comes down to the Tenere 700 or the Touareg. The Yamaha if you want it to last forever. The Aprilia if you want it to feel alive. Both are more bike than the average rider will ever use up. That's not an insult at this level. That's the point of it. Nobody's maxing out a Tenere on a grocery run. Level 4. The 900s. BMW F900 GS. Triumph Tiger 900, with that offbeat triple that sounds like nothing else on the road. KTM 890 Adventure. Ducati Multistrada V2. For the guy who wants an adventure bike that still reminds him, gently but constantly, that it's a Ducati. Husqvarna Norden 901, which is the KTM 890 underneath wearing a nicer jacket. These are the do-everything bikes. Big enough to carry a passenger and luggage across a country. Small enough that you can still pick one up when it goes down. And it will go down. Every single one of them eventually in a gravel lot, in front of someone. Nobody brags about buying one of these. Nobody regrets it either. They just work, and they'll outlast your interest in owning them. Level 5. The Flagships. Now the fantasy gets expensive. BMW R1300 GS. 1300cc boxer engine, around 145 horsepower, electronic suspension that reads the road under you, and it is genuinely one of the best motorcycles ever built. It is also the single most posed-on machine in all of motorcycling. The GS is the default adventure bike, and there's a real reason for that. In 2004, two actors, Ewan McGregor and Charlie Boorman, rode BMWs around the world for a TV series called Long Way Round. It dragged adventure riding into the mainstream overnight, and BMW has basically been living off that footage ever since. McGregor and Boorman actually wanted KTMs. KTM got nervous the trip would fail and make them look stupid, so they pulled out. BMW said yes. BMW became the king of an entire category that KTM handed them. Remember that, because it matters at level 7. So now the flagship shelf is stacked. The Ducati Multistrada V4, with 170 horsepower, the Triumph Tiger 1200, the Honda Africa Twin, the Suzuki V-Strom 1050, the Moto Guzzi Stelvio, and the KTM 1390 Super Adventure, which makes 173 horsepower on a bike people supposedly buy to ride in the dirt. A dirt bike magazine tested it and said 173 horsepower is too much for the dirt. They were right. Nobody needs superbike numbers to find a fire road. Then the one nobody saw coming, the Harley-Davidson Pan America. 1250, 150 horsepower, and it drops its own ride height at a stoplight so you can reach the ground. Harley built an adventure bike, and it's actually good. Nobody had that on their card. The flagship owner has every piece of gear. The panniers, the crash bars, the aluminum boxes. The bike wears knobbly-looking tires and a skid plate, and it has never once been dirty. The furthest it's been off-road is a gravel car park in the rain. That's fine. He's not lying to you. He's lying to himself, and it's a very comfortable lie at 80 miles an hour on the freeway. Level 6. The ones that actually go. Same big engines, completely different intent. KTM 890 Adventure R and the 1390 Super Adventure R, with proper long-travel suspension and spoked wheels. Ducati Desert X, and the Desert X Rally with the taller, tougher setup. Husqvarna Norden 901 Expedition. These get bought by the small slice of people who genuinely send it. Load the bike, point it at a country with bad roads, and go. The suspension is set up for real hits. The tanks hold enough fuel to get you somewhere stupid and back out again. You can spot these owners instantly. Their bikes are scratched. The bash plate has dents in it. The handguards are ground down. Everything on level 5 is spotless. Everything here looks like it lost a fight and won anyway. Level 7. The KTM 450 Rally Replica. This is the actual bike. Not a bike style to look like a race bike. It's the machine KTM has won the Dakar Rally on 12 times in the last 21 years. They build around 100 of them a year, by hand, in Austria. It cost about $40,000, which is a lot of farkles for the KLR guy back at level 2. 449cc single cylinder. No ABS. 3 separate fuel tanks holding 34 liters, because the race stages are that long. And it is not road legal. You cannot register it. You cannot ride it to work. Think about what everyone wanted at the start of this video. Light, simple, 1 cylinder, unbeatable in the dirt. Here it is. It exists. It is the best adventure bike on this entire list. And it's a hand-built race bike that costs 40 grand and is not allowed to touch a public road. The perfect one was never going to be the one you could buy. Every bike you can actually own is a compromise on that. This is the one with nothing taken out, and it's not for sale to people like us. So be honest in the comments. Not what your bike is capable of, what you actually did with it this year. How much dirt has it really seen? Round up if you have to. I won't tell. That's the full breakdown. Go check your own tires, and if they've seen more soap than dirt, that's alright, we don't judge here. Much. Catch you in the next one.